Thank you, Mr. Prime Minister. I'm very pleased to be here in Madrid, second time in 1 month, and just 1 week after fully taking office as President of the European Council. Our meeting today marks the launch of the Spanish presidency. It also marks the beginning of a very close cooperation between José Luis Zapatero, as head of the government responsible for the work of the Council, José Manuel Barroso, President of the Commission, and myself as the permanent President of the European Council. Only by working very closely together at all levels will be able to deliver on the many challenges facing us. And this will indeed be a challenging 6 months for us all. We will see concrete changes in the functioning of the European Union with the implementation of the Lisbon Treaty, and together with the Spanish presidency and the Commission, we are committed to make the best of it. We will fully cooperate in the spirit of the treaty to enable Europe to operate in a more coherent and in a more efficient way. There are in particular 2 very big challenges facing us, which will require the full engagement of the European Union at the highest level if we are to be successful. First, tackling the economic crisis. Second, responding to the climate change. This is why I took the initiative, after consultation with the Prime Minister of Spain and the President of the Commission, I took the initiative to convene a meeting of the European Union heads of state and of government on the 11th of February to examine these 2 issues. I have just had a first discussion on both topics with 2 of my colleagues, and I look forward to working further with them. The first objective is to secure full recovery in the European Union after the financial and economic crisis that hit us and the world very hard last year. We must overcome the short-term challenges linked to the crisis and at the same time press ahead with the structural changes that we had embarked on under the Lisbon strategy for jobs and growth. We need more economic growth now and in the future in order to finance on a lasting and sound basis our social model, to preserve what I call the European way of life. This is a matter of survival, and we will succeed. We now need a new, renewed economic strategy, the Strategy 2020, with stronger ownership at the highest level. That means the European Council. I find it crucial that the heads of state or government be clearly associated from the outset with this work. This will ensure their engagement and thus their commitment to implement what we agree. That is why I plan to have an in-depth discussion at the informal meeting of the heads of states and of government on February the 11th. Later on, at the Spring European Council, we will have a more structured discussion in the light of our February brainstorming and of the Commission forthcoming communication. The objective will be to approve the new strategy at the June European Council at the end of the Spanish presidency. I want us to look together at the challenges ahead and the best way to tackle them. We know what our objectives are. We know what we lack: too low research and development, or insufficient mobilization of talents, for instance. We also know that there are bottlenecks constraining economic growth within our countries, such as insufficient mobility, too little risk capital, and problems in the labour market. What I want us to concentrate is how we can overcome both our general handicaps and the bottlenecks, and what is needed at the various levels of political responsibility. The European Union as a whole needs to be engaged in this. That means the institutions, but also the member states, their government as well as their regions. It must be a collective effort. I also want us to have a close look at a better correlation between our overall objectives and the use of European Union instruments over the coming years. We need tighter governance and a better control of the process. I will make concrete proposals in that respect. My next point concerns climate change. The European Union must continue to be a driving force in this field. There has been a lot of criticism at the outcome of the Conference of Copenhagen. But let us be clear. Without the Union, the outcome in Copenhagen would have been much less. I am the first to recognize that we as a Union would have liked to go further. But there is no reason to be downbeat about the outcome. There are enough elements to build on and to achieve positive and lasting results for the good of our climate and our future. This is a complicated process, and we are in for a long haul, and we will play our part. That is why I took the initiative to discuss at the informal meeting of the European Council of February the follow-up of Copenhagen, both in terms of climate change as such and in terms of strategic consequences arising out of the action of the various key players at the conference in Copenhagen. I want the European Union to bring in all its influence in future negotiations and to be both heard and respected. The Union has done much in terms of its commitments for emission reductions, but also in terms of the financial assistance it is prepared to bring to others, both in the short and in the long term. It is time to recall that globalization may give rights to all global actors, but also responsibilities. And within a week, we will know the quantitative goals of the various actors in terms of CO2 reductions. We will then know the distance between the pledges made in Copenhagen and what is still needed to reach the objectives of limiting the rise in temperature to a maximum of 2 degrees. Everyone will have to face up to their responsibilities. That are my comments by the coming European Council of beginning of February.
Muchas gracias.